And I guess let's start off with the Tottenham update. Some transfer news doing the rounds at the moment, so let's get stuck into that. Starting off with Ange Postecoglou, as congratulations is in order to Ange Postecoglou.
Another trophy.
Because he has been awarded the John Duncan Award, awarded by the LMA to a manager who had a historical achievement with their club in a given season. So big up to Ange Postecoglou.
Another trophy for Ange this season. I don't know who else has received that in recent years. Has Arteta got an LMA?
Definitely not.
Don't think so. So, fair. I don't know. Maybe he has. But big up to Ange Postecoglou. Well deserved. It's a historic achievement for him. Something, as he says, in the Premier League era, completely unprecedented. So, fair play to him. Look, I'm not going to lie. I didn't know what this award was before yesterday. But here we go.
It's such a prestigious award.
Clear, very prestigious. Big award for big Ange Postecoglou.
John Cross does say that the expectation still remains that Ange Postecoglou will be sacked by Tottenham Hotspur. But he does say, however, there is unlikely to be a quick resolution over his future. I mean, the way I'm looking at it is that the whole plan was all along for a while now to sack Ange at the end of the season. But I do feel like Levy's probably been thrown back, with the outpour of togetherness between the players and Ange and the fans now, and Ange as well. So I feel like he's kind of dithering on his decision.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit ridiculous. Like, that is one thing we definitely do know, is that clearly, if the plan was to always keep him, we would know that by now. If the plan was to always sack him, we would kind of know that by now. And we're looking at the situation since we've won that final. They're now in limbo, not making any sort of decision, not sure how we're going to go about it. And I think it's a bit ridiculous, to be honest. They should have planned for this eventuality beforehand, because they'd known there was a possibility we were going to win that final.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think that the plan, regardless of if we won it or if we lost it, was to sack him. That's what I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think you don't dither like this unless that was always the plan, I would say. Because if the plan was, when we keep him, then we would hear it. We would have known it by now.
No, I just think the plan was to always sack him, and Levy just didn't realise the togetherness within the club with the players, and also the outpouring from the fans as well.
Yeah, and I think it's ridiculous that he didn't maybe guess that might happen towards a manager who's said he was going to win a trophy in the second season, and when he actually does it, and especially a big trophy like the Europa League, what kind of impact that was going to have, and the celebrations and everything.
Wouldn't be the first time he hasn't read the room.
I know, but it's like, again, how many times this board and the chairman suffer from a lack of planning going forward and a lack of foresight, because they should have probably understood that this was a likely scenario, and they should have, before, like, going forward, I know the season's gone how it's gone, but they should have, going into that final, known if he loses, this is going to happen. If they win, we're going to do this. They should have planned for all these eventualities. It's not really that hard to predict that this was going to happen. Is it a massive shock? For me, I know for you, maybe, because you said you maybe underestimated the impact or your feelings after the win and how that was going to change. But, I mean, for me, I always knew if we won that final, what impact that was going to have, how massive it would be. And I just think for a company that's, a business, I should say, £4 billion worth, right? There's not one person in that boardroom that could have predicted this. You know what I mean? Is it that crazy that Ange was going to get a lot of love and a lot of support if we was to win that Europa League? Is it that out of this world that they're now sitting here so gobsmacked that they're so paralysed by any sort of decision they can't decide because they're just so unbelievably blown away by the manager getting support after winning a European trophy? I just think it's a bit ridiculous. Like, they should have realised this was a pretty good possibility of happening.
Yeah, I think some people in the boardroom would have known and would have, had the foresight to think that this would happen. But ultimately, the decision lies with Daniel Levy. And your guess is as good as mine. Like, I really don't know which way this is going to go. It's mad to think. I think it's literally on a knife edge right now. It's a 50-50 decision which way it goes, in my opinion.
It's a weird one, because I hear some fans saying if they were going to sack him, we would have heard by now. And then I hear other fans saying if they were going to keep him, we would have heard by now. You can literally take it either way you want. I think both are true in a weird way, because, as I've said before, if they were going to sack him, you would have hoped they had someone lined up, and you would have hoped we would have heard some really serious links to managers. And let's be honest, as much as there are some tentative links at the moment, there's no one really, even leading up to the final, there was no one like, okay, there's serious talks about this guy or that guy. It was always like, oh, this is a list and maybe they'll go for him or that. There's no like serious link. But as well, if the plan obviously was to keep him, then there's no reason to delay any sort of messaging from journalists or anything that the likelihood is or the event or that the decision is that he is going to get another season. And we haven't heard that either. So literally, whatever way you look at it or whatever way you're thinking or whatever narrative you want to spin, you can spin it right now because it's literally in the balance. And him, I think the chairman and the fact that they're so unsure and they're dithering. I mean, that's the only thing we do know for sure is that they're very much are dithering. Right? Because we would have heard a decision either way if they weren't. So that's the one thing we definitely know is that they haven't made a decision whether he's staying or not, which is, I think, ridiculous. And I think that, you should, a club of this size and a club with this much, revenue and making this much money in a business of this size, essentially, should be making better decisions with more foresight, I feel. And I think it's a bit ridiculous that we're sitting here, other clubs are making signings and we're just in limbo like, oh, do we want to keep this guy or not? Like, make a decisive decision.
Exactly. Whichever way they want to go, like, I can probably get behind either way. Like, I prefer Ange to stay, but if they are to let him go at this moment in time, and they bring an adequate replacement in, I can still get behind it. So both eventualities, I think, could be good options for us, but they just need to make that decision. And they need to make it like 3 days ago. Yeah,
agreed. But the issue is now if they're not close to a manager, do we want to sack publicly anyway? From a PR standpoint, are they going to sack Ange without someone lined up and go through this protracted public manager search, or they're only going to announce the sacking of Ange once they have someone really ready in place? So they do what they did with Poch, where we didn't. They literally hired Mourinho very quickly after Poch was sacked, and we didn't really have that time to like go crazy at the ball because we already had someone put in.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing they did, although it wasn't a good thing they sacked Poch. It was a good thing though that it was swiftly dealt with. It wasn't like a long protracted search, which was positive. So maybe they're like, okay, maybe we're only going to announce Ange sacking once we have someone serious lined up and we actually have that. But
unless that is the case, right, where Levy's decision is made up and we, probably behind closed doors have already parted companies with Ange and they're just waiting for someone to sign the deal to be our manager for next season.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But in terms of another potential manager, there are links today to Simone Inzaghi, Fabio Biasin. So reports coming from Italy saying that Tottenham remain interested in appointing Inzaghi. Inzaghi has decisive talks planned with Inter Milan after the Champions League final to determine whether he will remain at the club. I mean, this is probably an option where, no one's going to say no to Inzaghi.
Yeah, he's one of the ones I was saying. If there's like a really outstanding candidate who obviously has Champions League experience and I really believe is one that we just can't miss out on, then yeah, Inzaghi is probably one of those because obviously he took over from Conte, who left after winning the league for Inter, but he left because he felt he wasn't getting backed. He was going to lose, I think, Lukaku at the time, and I think he was good. They replaced him with a free Edin Dzeko and these kind of things. And Inter at that time, despite winning the league, I think they lost Hakimi as well that summer. And Inzaghi took on that challenge and didn't kind of look at that challenge and think, oh, this is, not a club I want to be part of because of X, Y, and Z, like Conte, who threw his toys out the pram. He's like, I'm going to deal with this. I'm gonna put things in place, which means we're going to still be challenging despite not being in a great financial position, despite maybe losing some of our best players. And he has done a phenomenal job. Absolutely phenomenal. Won the league once or twice, definitely once, and then obviously just missed out this year.
Because this is his third year, right?
Yeah.
So he's lost it twice to Napoli, hasn't he?
So he lost it twice, and I think also maybe once to AC, maybe? Or was he at Conte?
No, he won the year one. He won the league once. So in 3 years, he's lost the league twice to Napoli and won it once, I think.
Yeah, so he won it once and then also got to a Champions League final as well. And they were very close in that final against Man City.
Did he get to 2 Champions League finals, or was that
and this is Inzaghi, the second one. Okay, so I'm saying he got to a Champions League final and lost to City. They were very close in that final. If it wasn't for some Lukaku misses, they might have won that. And now he's got to a second Champions League final. All, by the way, on a budget where they're very much relying on like free transfers and very cheap signings. They're not ones that are going to spend millions and millions. When you look at their team, he's very good. Well, him and his recruitment are very good at getting value and cheap alternatives in the market and making it work. Marcus Thuram on a free. selling Hakimi and getting Dumfries, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, getting him on a free from AC Milan when he was discarded and making him one of the best playmakers in Europe. Obviously, he was taken on Lautaro Martinez, even using that to Dzeko, Taremi, even signing the likes of Arnautovic, making use of him. Like, very, very good at doing that. And as well, he plays a back three. It's defensively solid, but it's also very good football as well when they get it right, and actually a lot more free flowing when it's. I feel like Conte plays his 3-4-3 with a lot more rigidity, whereas Inzaghi plays it a lot more offensive, a lot more free flowing, a lot more attractive. And yes, there are sometimes games where they do sip deep and it's, they're just defensively solid and the football isn't so great to watch. But they also, I think last season or this season, were top goal scorers in the league. Like, they do score a lot of goals and they are actually on their day, very attractive to watch as well. And he's shown he can work within a budget.
They are, more a defence-first team. Like a Conte Inter team, they were probably the highest scorers in the league as well. They scored a lot of goals.
The football's a lot better, I can tell you. The football's a lot better under Inzaghi than it is Conte.
Because it's not like high-pressing football and, gung-ho attacking football. Like, when Ange came in, everyone was, there was a clamour for attacking football. There was a clamour when Daniel Levy said, we got our Tottenham back, we got attacking football back. I don't think Inzaghi would be that. It would be maybe more attacking than Conte, fine, granted, but it's not the attacking football that everyone craved when Conte left.
No, but I'm just saying he's not a manager who plays bad football. Like, it's not rigid. It's free flowing a lot of the time, and it's actually really good on the eye. You saw the semi-final against Barca. I know a lot of it was counter-attacking, but obviously you played to your strengths. Against Barca was counter-attacking, but in the previous rounds it wasn't just counter-attacking. It was actually front. He can play front foot football as well, and he's a manager for me. He's shown his pedigree because before Inter, he did a really good job at Lazio. I think he was getting them in the Champions League, and there's a reason he got the Inter job. He actually did a really good job at Lazio, and he's come in and shown his pedigree on the top stage and on the top level. And he's unlucky. Maybe he hasn't had a Champions League trophy. He might get one at the end of this season. Anyway, all this to say, I do think it's unlikely he comes to Tottenham. Like, if I was him, I'll probably stay at Inter because he's got a good thing going there. He's got a really holistic approach with him and the recruitment and everything. It seems to work. So he can work on the structure.
He is going to be leaving at the end of the
season.
Yeah,
and obviously there's rumours about Al Hilal as well. And they want to make him the highest paid manager in the world. If he's open to come to the Premier League, and obviously if you look at the Premier League, who else is there but Tottenham to really come to right now, then maybe he's open to it. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see where his head's truly at after the Champions League final. I think whether he wins or loses, maybe that'll make his decision. But I'd love him. I think he's one manager who I can say, okay, yes, I want Ange to stay, but that's a manager who's available and wants to come. I don't really want to miss out on him. That's one manager maybe, but there's very few of those out there.
But what you got to say is, like, it's another style shift from Tottenham Hotspur where we were told we were going to go this way and we're going to stick with this way. And now it's another kind of shift to another system and another way of playing football.
Agreed. And that would have to take time to sort out 100%.
But I also would say to that, like I've been saying all season, that I feel like the squad that we have is probably more suited to like a 3 at the back system, which Inzaghi will bring. But I don't know. It's just like it does seem very Paratici to me, though. This Inzaghi kind of rumours, and if Paratici is coming back and with the powers of persuasion that he does have, I wouldn't bet against it.
He doesn't really play wingers. He likes to play a 5-3-2, high intensity wing backs. Dumfries is basically like a winger, and DeMarco on the other side, and he plays 2 up front.
It could suit Sonny a bit better, getting more inside with a partner up front. Solanke and Son up top with maybe another one coming in if Richarlison's leaving. It wouldn't be too bad.
I think Johnson could maybe do it.
Yeah, Johnson as well could do it, yeah.
One guy I'm maybe unsure of, maybe people like Tell, not sure where he fits in. Not Tell, so Tell first of all, but also Odebear, not sure where he fits in.
As a striker
yeah,
as well.
Tell could do it. Not Odebear, I don't know where he fits in. But to be fair, to be honest, a lot of our forward players are more forwards than wingers. Odebear's, and I guess you would have said Johnson, but I think Johnson's again more of a forward, isn't he? So I think maybe we do have the forwards to make it work potentially.
Yeah, I definitely think we got the defence to make it work, the wing backs to make it work, some of the midfielders to make it work. So in terms of the players that we have, I don't think it's a bad fit.
But it's whether it's realistic you'd come here.
Yeah,
That's the
and
question.
I think if you give him, assurances, which we're not very good at, and if you give him a project, I think he can back a project. I really do. And you look at the coming into this club with the stadium and everything, the training ground, the facilities. Put him on good wages, which we've liked to do with managers in the past, like Conte, Mourinho, and everything like that. I do think it's a project you can sell him.
I definitely think as well, Levy will be looking at Inzaghi and looking at his transfer record in terms of how cheap he gets players and how he gets them right. And he'll think, well, that's exactly what we're looking for. I know he's got a different recruitment team behind him, but in terms of how they work together with the recruitment team, clearly they've got something good going there.
Yeah, but I don't think Spurs would... you look at Italy and maybe even before Inzaghi, the signings that Inter used to make with Ashley Young and, Premier League cast-offs and older Premier League players coming in there and doing a really good job. I mean, I think it's easier doing that in Serie A than it is in the Premier League.
Potentially, but it's not just that. Look at Çalhanoğlu, got him on a free. Thuram, got him on a free. Dumfries, they sold Hakimi and got him in, So he's very good at getting these really good deals. What wages are they
paying these players, though? Who
Don't
knows?
Know. I don't know. Is it going to be massively different to what we're paying?
I don't know. We can have a quick look, but Inter Milan wages. I don't suspect they're paying crazy high wages, to be honest. But yeah, Çalhanoğlu's on 213 grand a week. I doubt we're paying him that. Dumfries is on 100k. That's something in our price budget.
Çalhanoğlu's been
86.
Çalhanoğlu's been there for a bit, and also it's Euros anyway, isn't it? So,
Euros, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a similar strategy, which I think Levy would love, in my opinion.
Maybe he can bring a Bastoni with him.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Let's talk about potential targets going into the summer. Matt Barlow from the Daily Mail says that Eberechi Eze, Tyler Dibbling, Angel Gomez, Mark Gehi, Fikayo Tomori are players of interest to Spurs this summer. I mean, Eze is one that I would love to see through the door at this football club. Dibbling, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Dibbling. I like Dibbling a lot, but I just feel like we need to bring in experience this summer. Gomez, another free transfer, not bad one, but I think in terms of the number 8 position, if you're going forward with Bergvall and Sarr in that position next season, I can't really see where Angel Gomez fits in. Gehi, I'd love through the door, and Tomori doesn't move me.
I know, in terms of a list, I'd hope we've got a lot more players, because that doesn't scream to me like a list like that's going to kick us on.
That sounds like a lazy list to me, because it's all just players that we've been linked to in the past.
Also a list that, if we would have lost that final, that's probably a list you would have expected, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, Eze, I think that's a player who I really love at Tottenham. I think can really add quality. But the others, if we're saying we need a really experienced number 8, I don't know about 8. I don't know if Angel Gomez is really that. Obviously, he has got experience at Champions League.
Do we need an experienced number 8, though?
Don't know.
I don't think we do. Going into next season, you're looking at Bergvall probably going to be our starting number 8.
Well, number 6, I mean.
Oh, 6, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if he's that. Dibbling, as you say, a good player, but he's 18, he's very young. Guehi's a lot. But are Palace really going to lose Gehi and Eze in the same window?
No, especially not getting European football next season as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Gehi, they're going to have to leave, going to have to get rid of probably, because he's going into his last year of his contract. They're not going to want to lose him for free. Eberechi Eze, are they going to be able to hold him for another year? I don't know. It depends how much he wants to leave.
Yeah. I just hope we got a more bigger list than that.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about Leroy Sane. This was an interesting one that propped up yesterday. Sky Sports are claiming that Tottenham have been offered the chance to sign Leroy Sane, who is out of contract this summer. Bild are also reporting Tottenham is currently the English club showing the most concrete interest in Sane. After they qualify for next year's Champions League, Spurs are an attractive destination for Sane, in addition to the fact that his wife wants to live in London. Bayern want to know the player's final decision before travelling to the Club World Cup on June the 10th. So his contract is up at the end of the season. Bayern have offered him a new contract, but he is stalling on that deal.
I think this looks like a link to try and get that deal over the line, rather than act a serious link to Tottenham. I don't think we're actually in for him, in my opinion.
I would love us to sign him, though.
I like him. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, and at his best, phenomenal talent. But the guy is 29. This season hasn't started that. He started a few games, but very few games he's able to play 90 minutes, or even more than that. I was looking into him today. Yes, he's got a goal and assist record, but I think he started 29 games a season. Only 17 of them he's able to play more than 60 minutes, right?
So like James Maddison then.
And he's on massive wages, like 300 grand a week wages. Look, he's a top player, and he is the kind of pedigree you want. But at this stage of his career, I don't know if that's the right move for us.
I would love to bring him in on a short-term deal, like a 2-year contract, something like that. 2-3 year contract, winning mentality, been there, done it, can teach our players a lot in terms of, moving forward, developing young wingers. I think he could offer a lot of value to this football club.
Yeah, if we can get him on the pitch. That's the big problem.
What's his injury record like this season?
I don't think it's too bad, but he just, in terms of fitness-wise, he can't seem to last too long. That's the problem. He started 29 out of 50 games, which isn't terrible. But again, of those 29 games, I think he's played about 90 minutes. And a lot of them, he's barely lasted past 60.
Is that not too dissimilar to James Maddison?
Is that not too dissimilar to James Maddison?
Maddison's all season he has barely been able to last more than 65, 70 minutes.
I guess. Different, yeah, maybe.
And Maddison probably gets injured more regularly.
Maddison's played, I think, I don't know how many games this season. I think 41 games. Yeah, I guess, but that's a decent point.
And you wouldn't be sitting here saying, I want to sell James Maddison, or if Maddison was on the market, you wouldn't want to bring him in.
But I wouldn't want to pay 300 grand a week for him, probably.
Yeah, that's the point. The wages are the sticking point here. It depends if he's willing to take a cut in wages. I don't think anyone in world football are paying him that wages anymore.
No. And he's also, getting near 30. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a deal that we're likely to do.
It's a good point as well. Van der Vaart never lasted that long either in games.
Yeah. But those kind of players aren't really, kind of Van der Vaarts who just a luxury player. They're not really that often common.
Yeah. But in terms of Sane, if you bring him in on the left wing and you share that role, let's say Ange stays and it's a left winger, right? You share that role between Sane and Son. Two very experienced players out on the left-hand side.
More on the right. I would want him on the right, I would say.
Fine, on the right. So share that role with him and Brennan Johnson even. You know what I mean? Either having Brennan Johnson coming on for the last half an hour or having him coming on for the last half an hour. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. Look, I like him. Obviously, he's a fantastic player. He's phenomenal for City. For Bayern, he's been good, but he's not been, incredible, but he's been good.
I think he has had his best return in terms of goal contributions this season, hasn't he? For Bayern. I
think he's got 14 goals. It's pretty good return. But obviously, Bayern in the Bundesliga is, it's a bit different. But yeah, obviously, if we sign him, I'm going to be excited. But I don't see him being here for more than 2 years.
Yeah, and that's all we need him for. That's all we need him for, 29 years of age, experience to get us where we need to be. This club and this team are dying for experience, If we were in Arsenal's position or, it's settled in the top 4 and stuff like that, then I probably would pass on him. Because of where we're at right now, so many young players, these young players need to have them guided through. And they need to learn off someone, and I think he'd be a really good guy to do that with.
Yeah.
But anyway, Sane, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. It looks like not many people in the comments do want him. It looks like I'm on my own on that one. But I'd love to see him through the door at this football club. I do think that's the kind of experience we need.
I think the idea of him is better than what he actually offers.
Maybe. Let's talk about Cuti Romero. This is an interesting one now. As Sky Sports' Lyle Thomas says that Atletico Madrid are expected to approach Tottenham over signing Cuti Romero potentially as early as this week. It's not clear whether Levy will be willing to discuss the sale of Romero after Spurs won the Europa League to qualify for next year's Champions League. check this one out. Atletico are believed to be willing to pay around £38 million for him, but believe Tottenham value him in excess of £49 million. First of all, that is just derisory at this point. Like, what are you lot on about? And Sport also claim that Atletico Madrid's confidence in signing Romero is diminishing. Tottenham are showing a reluctance to even hold negotiations over a deal for Romero with Atletico Madrid. Simeone personally requested the centre-back. Romero is their number one target, but Spurs are showing a reluctance to even enter talks over a sale, which is music to my ears, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think after winning that Europa League and being in the Champions League and the fact that he's in the leadership group, I think that's obviously the right approach. And when you start negotiations, you just got to say, look, we don't think he's for sale. We don't want to sell him. And that's that. But obviously, as the window goes on, if Romero's pushing for it, especially, we've heard if Ange leaves, he doesn't want to stay, all that kind of stuff. He's very much tied to Ange. So obviously that position could definitely change, and if he's going to force a move. But 38 million is absolutely ridiculous. We signed him for more than that. 38 million is not even going to get his right leg. It's madness to think that they're going to get anything close, sign of anything close to that. Try doubling that, and then maybe we can start talking. 38 million is very much it's an insulting bid. It's an insulting starting place from Atletico Madrid. If they're coming in for it and pushing to sign him, they think they're going to get him for anywhere close to that, then they're in dreamland, cloud cuckoo land. They're in dreamland. There's absolutely no chance. No chance. This is one of the best defenders in the world. He's I don't think he's ever lost a final. He's now won at club level. He's got unbelievable pedigree at international level. And he's one who's in our leadership group. We don't want to let him go. So to think, I know he's got 2 years left, but that doesn't mean his value dropped to 38 million. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
They need to spend like 2 installments of 38 million. Never mind just 38 million. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
These guys, if that is real and that is true, then it's a derisory offer, and Levy shouldn't even entertain it. To be honest, not even respond.
Exactly.
And last but not least, back to the Ryan Mason conversation, as Sky Sports are claiming that West Brom are now expected to approach Tottenham this week, requesting permission to speak to Ryan Mason. West Brom want to talk to him about becoming the next head coach. It's not clear what Spurs' position on the matter will be. And Jay Percy says that Mason set to hold talks with West Brom, with the Championship club making Mason their number one target for head coach.
Very interesting, and what a great opportunity it is for him. So good luck to him. It looks like they're really serious about it, and it looks like this could really be happening for him. Obviously, a move in the Championship to a big club, but it's as much as it's a good move, it comes with expectation, because a club like West Brom, obviously a team who've been in the Premier League many times, I'm sure their expectation is to be in the Premier League, challenge to be in the Premier League for next season. So he doesn't come in there I don't know where they finished last season, not going to lie, but I think they were close to the playoffs, weren't they?
It was around mid-table.
Yeah, I think going late into the season, they had an outside shot of it. So that it's a team that are going to want to challenge for at least the playoffs or even in automatic. So he comes in there with expectation. And that's quite a big job for a first job, albeit in being in the Championship. But clearly they see something in Ryan.
Yeah, they finished 5 points off the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad. So yeah, look, his remit next season will be to finish in the playoffs or above. That's what it will be. So, there'll be a lot of Tottenham eyes on that, that's for sure.
Good luck to him. And we'll be seeing how they play football and all that kind of stuff. And it's I'm excited to see how he gets on.
Yeah, me too. And I wish him all the best. And I hope he smashes it out at West Brom. And if he does, then that does open the possibility to him coming back to Tottenham and being manager one day.
Yeah. Sure.
And also, it gives us an opportunity to send our youngsters somewhere to go and develop in the Championship as well.
True. And maybe if we send someone like Lancashire back there, he'll actually get more game time.
Even someone like a Jamie Donnelly, Jamie Donnelly obviously failed. They failed to get promotion to the Championship. So we're probably going to be looking for a Championship loan for him next season.
And what's great is Ryan obviously will know the players inside out. It's not much. It's not only about him willing to take our players because he was at us. He knows them. He'll know how to play them, what they're good at. He's not coming in and learning about them. He'll know to bring them in, and we're going to play this kind of way, and this is how they're going to fit in here. So that's really, really great.
Yeah, so that Jamie Donnelly won't be there starting left back then. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Hopefully we get some more news as the day progresses. But